Throughout modern history, wars in the Middle East have often had consequences that extend far beyond the region itself. While many Americans associate conflicts involving Iran with many military operations, oil prices, and foreign policy, the effects also reach unexpected sectors of the economy, including the housing market. As tensions involving Iran escalated this year in 2026, economists, investors, and policymakers began examining how the conflict could influence inflation, interest rates, and ultimately the cost of housing in states such as California. Although a war occurring thousands of miles away may appear unrelated to real estate in Los Angeles, Orange County, or the Bay Area, global economic connections make the relationship more significant than many people realize. One of the primary reasons why Iran plays such an important role in the global economy is its location near the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway, situated between Iran and Oman, serves as one of the world's most important oil transit routes. A substantial percentage of global petroleum shipments pass through the strait each year. Because of this, any military conflict, political instability, or threat to shipping in the region can create uncertainty in global energy markets. When investors fear disruptions to oil supplies, oil prices typically rise. This pattern has been observed repeatedly throughout history, including during the 1973 oil crisis, the Iran-Iraq War of 1980s, and the more recent tensions involving Iran. The increase in oil prices creates a chain reaction throughout the economy. Higher energy costs affect transportation, manufacturing, shipping, agriculture, and construction. Businesses often pass the increased costs onto consumers, causing inflation to rise. Inflation occurs when the general price of level of goods and services increases over time, reducing purchasing power. For policymakers at the Federal Reserve, inflation is one of the most important economic indicators because it influences decisions regarding interest rates. This year in 2026, the Federal Reserve found itself in a difficult position. Inflation had not yet returned to the central bank's long-term target of 2%, and rising energy prices associated with the tensions in the Middle East threatened to complicate the situation further. Under the leadership of Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh, who assumed the position in May of 2026, policymakers faced the challenge of balancing economic growth and inflation control. If inflation remained elevated, the Federal Reserve would have little incentive to aggressively lower interest rates. Interest rates are particularly important to the housing market because they directly influence mortgage rates. Most homebuyers rely on financing to purchase property, meaning the monthly mortgage payment often matters more than the actual purchase of the home. When mortgage rates increase, borrowing becomes more expensive. As a result, buyers can afford less house for the same monthly payment. This relationship is especially significant in California. The state consistently ranks among the most expensive housing markets in the United States. Cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, Newport Beach, and Beverly Hills have experienced decades of rising home values due to strong demand, limited housing supply, and restricted development regulations. According to data from the California Association of Realtors, housing affordability in California remains among the lowest in the nation, with many households unable to qualify for median-priced homes. Because housing prices are already elevated, California buyers are particularly sensitive to changes in mortgage rates. For example, a buyer purchasing a home for $1 million may see their monthly payment increase by several $100s if mortgage rates rise by even 1 percentage point. Over the life of a 30-year mortgage, this difference can amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional borrowing costs. Consequently, when geopolitical events contribute to inflation and higher interest rates, the impact on affordability can be substantial. However, it is important to distinguish between housing affordability and housing prices. While higher mortgage rates can reduce demand by making homes less affordable, they do not automatically cause home values to collapse. California faces a persistent housing shortage that has developed over several decades. Population growth, zoning restriction, environmental regulations, and limited land availability have all contributed to an imbalance between supply and demand. Even during periods of slower sales activity, this shortage tends to supply property values. The effects of the Iran conflict are therefore seemingly to be uneven across California's housing market. Luxury communities such as Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Malibu, and Newport Coast may experience relatively little impact because many buyers in those markets purchase property with significant cash reserves. In contrast, middle-income communities where buyers depend heavily on financing can experience slower sales activity if mortgage rates remain elevated. Areas in Riverside County, San Bernardino, and portions of Orange County may be more sensitive to change in borrowing costs because affordability plays a larger role in purchasing decisions. Notable economic figures have closely monitored these developments. Lawrence Yun, chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, has frequently emphasized that mortgage rates are one of the most important drivers of housing demand. Similarly, Federal Reserve officials continue to evaluate whether inflationary pressures resulting from energy markets require a more cautious approach to interest rate reductions. Meanwhile, political leaders, including President Donald Trump and members of his administration, have been directly involved in diplomatic and military decisions that influence global perceptions of stability in the Middle East. Ultimately, the significance of the Iran conflict for California homeowners and prospective buyers lies not in the war itself, but in the economic consequence that may follow. The conflict has the potential to influence oil prices, inflation, interest rates, and mortgage costs, all of which affect housing affordability. But California's long-lasting housing shortage is more probable to prevent a dramatic collapse in home values. Elevated borrowing costs could slow market activity and make homeownership even more challenging for many families. In conclusion, the relationship between international conflict and California real estate demonstrates the interconnected nature of the modern economy. Events occurring thousands of miles away can influence the financial decisions of families searching for homes in Los Angeles, Orange County, and throughout the state. As tensions with Iran continue to place upward pressure on energy prices and inflation, mortgage rates may remain higher for longer than many buyers hope. As a result, the greatest impact on California housing is expected to be reduced affordability rather than significant decline in home prices. For prospective homebuyers, the true cost of conflict may ultimately be measured not by the listing price of a house, but by the monthly payment required to own it.